Yes, we're still celebrating 26 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria. And earlier, you saw Mr. President addressing joint session of the National Assembly. And at the National Assembly chamber, he was able to reel out some of the achievements of his administration so far, reforms that he had undertaken to make the country better, and of course stabilize the price of food items, exchange rate, credit rating improvement, and of course he did say that states are not borrowing anymore to pay salaries of their workers, and of course he gave credit to those who sacrificed their lives for the enthronement of democracy, in particular late Chief MKO Abiola, and of course some other Nigerians who played vital role in ensuring that we have democracy today. Adebingwe.
Yes, he also gave posthumous awards to those who fought for democracy in Nigeria. And of course, he refuted the one-party state claims, which he described as not good for Nigeria.
Okay, so that's the summary of the presidential speech at the joint session of the National Assembly today. We still have with us in the studio our guests, Bola and Dari Oloyede. They will be giving us their own perspective of that presidential speech to the joint session of the National Assembly. Let me start with you, yes. Mr. Dari Oloyede. What were the major takeaways for you from that speech of Mr. President to the members of the National Assembly this afternoon?
Oh, well, if you ask me to summarize, I'll simply say, well, Mr. President played his politics right. He gave a speech that would appeal to different segments of the Nigerian society. He spoke to the Igbos, spoke to, every other Nigerian, academia, spoke to politicians too. And he touched everybody. And you will notice that at the end of it all, even for those of us in the studio here, those who had expressed some form of misgivings, they immediately catered to the side of Mr. President. Like, oh, yes, this is good. This is very good for democracy. So for me, the speech was a political speech. He highlighted the achievements and he made promises as usual. Let us hope that those promises will be kept. That's my thinking for now.
What about you, sir?
Yeah, I'm impressed that he was on top of his speech. In the past, we had presidents that were making mistakes even while they were reading. But here he was just, it was as if he had everything in his head. It was as if it was actually his speech. You know, we've had this problem of people reading other people's speeches. And then they will just come and read it. The next moment, if you ask them, they wouldn't even be able to tell you what they have read. I've had that experience before. I'd been a speechwriter, and you write a speech for somebody, and a governor, after reading the speech, journalists were asking questions. They said, Bola, come and answer their questions. It's your speech. Very embarrassing. So, but he was on top of his speech. That's very good. And he, like we said, like my colleague here said, he tried to disallay our fears that we are moving towards a one-party state. But he did not spare the opposition. He told them that put your house in order, which is the problem that they have. Put your house in order. You cannot expect me to put your house in order for you. You cannot expect me to help you solve your problem. So if your problem serves my interest, it's good problem for me. It's bad problem for you, but good problem for me. So the defection is actually telling the opposition that the defection is good problem for me. It could be bad problem for you. So try and put your house in order, which is what I think they should do. The problem that the parties have, that the members are defecting, wasn't created by Bola Tinubu. It was internal democracy that didn't work in those parties that is making their members to defect. So he spoke about that. And I am particularly happy that he also spoke about the students' loan. But he should do more.
Okay.
Because our universities are in serious decay. Infrastructure is decaying there seriously. The students don't live on campus anymore. They live outside campuses, and that is very bad. Discipline, values, everything is gone in our universities, because when you get to their hostels, you weep. The hostels that I lived in when I was at University of Ife, now Bolawale University, I went there some years back. I wept. I went into my room, the room that I occupied when I was in part 1, when
Which
I
hall
was in part 2. Fajuyi Hall.
Okay.
I was chairman of Fajuyi Hall in my final year, and I couldn't believe it. So the infrastructure in the universities, we need to do something about it. And I'm also very particular about the statement made by the Speaker of the House that something be done about power supply. It is that is key. We should take a cue from God. God himself did one thing when he wanted to start creation.
Let there be light.
Initially, I thought it was light that God first created. But recently, Spirit of God told me no. The first thing God created was order, was security. You see, security. It was when there was security, when God took control of the environment, that He now created light. So we need something. The government should do something about security. He mentioned it briefly, but he has to tell us what he's doing about security and about power supply. Without those two, there is every other thing he has said about we are doing this, we are doing that. If there is no security and if there is no power, everything will not work well.
Okay, Mr. President, paid tribute to democracy heroes, including MKO Abiola, his wife Kudirat Abiola, and Gani Fahimi, which I think was the highlight of the speech. So how important is this act of national remembrance to Nigeria's democracy?
It's very, very important, because these are people who laid down their lives. They died for the democracy that we're enjoying today. And when you look at it, you find out that many of the people who are enjoying the democracy today were actually people who stood against it, who fought against it, who stood on the other side. But today they are on the side of enjoying the democracy, whereas the people who laid down their lives for it are no more. So if they cannot be here physically to enjoy it, at least we should preserve their memory. We should appreciate the sacrifice they made. And I think that is what the president has done. And I'm not surprised that he did that, because he also was part of the struggle. Many of those people he mentioned were people he struggled alongside with. People that they went to demonstrate together, people that they were harassed together. You remember that he himself had to run away into exile with some of these people, and many of these people that were killed were people that he knew one-on-one. So, and the sacrifices that they made were known to him. It's not as if somebody would come and tell him that this is who Alfred Revani was, this is who Franco Kori was, this is who Beko Ransom Kuti was. He knew them one-on-one. This is who nobody would tell him about Femi Falana and all the other people, all the journalists, so they are people that he knew one-on-one. It is good that he is in power. He has not forgotten them. He is like a river that has not forgotten his source. I think it's very good. Particularly, people will be happy with some of the injustices of the past that he tried to correct with those remembrances, like Franco Kori. Like when he died, a lot of people were not happy that he died like a poor person, on song, as if he hadn't forgotten. And then we also talk about Ken Saro-Wiwa, the way he was executed. People believe that that was judicial murder, and that somebody like that shouldn't have died with his contribution to this country and things like that. So that he can be remembered, that the government is now granting pardon to himself and the others, because they kept protesting their innocence up until the time they were executed.
Terry, recognizing Humphrey Nwosu was also a game changer. What do you think about that?
That's about the best for me. Because when you talk about dividends of democracy, well, the man stood his ground, he fought hard, he was physically assaulted, and it grieves the heart when you hear people discussing about Humphrey Nwosu and some people speculating about his role. I mean, I read severally that no, don't praise this man. He didn't do his job. He could have announced. He could have. When he died, there was a write-up. I mean, the one that actually captured the details. As some of us who were young then, but we voted, we did all those things. And when I read it, I knew this was a proper account. I mean, the judiciary was against this election. I mean, the night before the election, a judge gave an order. While the counting was on, there were others. The Association for Better Nigeria came out to fight against this election, and the military was in power. The man did everything. The results eventually, I mean, when he died, the full results were now published. All the results were in. All that was necessary, and the man pleaded, let me just announce and go away. You can still do whatever you want to do. The Supreme Military Council, or whatever you call yourself, you can then say, we don't want the result and everything. And they said you cannot do that. He was physically assaulted. But you see, bigotry has become our second nature in Nigeria. Everything tapers down to either you are Igbo, you are Hausa, you are Yoruba, you are Muslim, you are Christian. And so when you hear some people, simply because the man is from a particular section of the country, saying, oh, you can't trust this, you can't. I mean, those of us, I'm a young man, but I'm old enough. If I voted then, I'm old enough to know that man, even by his gestures, when this man is counting, you see the zeal. He was happy doing the job, and we all wanted. I mean, for many years after that, some of us didn't vote again. Because I mean, how do you begin to justify the cancellation of that? So yes, that's the best for me, really, in terms of. But it may be politics to some people. They may say, "Oh, he has simply done that because he wanted to assuage the feelings of certain sections of the country." Well, whether it is politics, whether it's anything, President Tinubu got this one very right, and I'm happy with him.
Okay, so looking at the speech generally now, and of course the mood of the nation, what do you think this will ignite in the minds of Nigerians who seem to be on the edge, thinking that the country is hard, Mr. President is not doing anything, and the political class are just living large at the expense of the people?
Yes, I expect that the opposition will pick holes in this speech. They will most likely say that he did not address the hardship in town enough. He did not talk to the fact that people are hungry, that the economy is not picking up as fast as people will expect, and that he did not also talk extensively about the insecurity that appears to be pervading every section of the country. It's no longer limited to the northeast or north central. Now we have insecurity all over the place and things like that. But a lot of positives, like my colleague here said, a lot of positives can be taken away from that speech. A speech like this is not supposed to be something that you keep talking for 1 hour, 2 hours, or things like that. You just have to summarize. You cannot talk in details. And he made mention of all these areas. He talked about what they are doing to put the economy back on track. Talked about what they are doing to make food available and agriculture and things like that. So let us hope that all this won't just be any other talk. Let's hope that by next year, God sparing our lives, when He comes before this National Assembly again, joint meeting again, that He will be able to report that last year I was here, I made this promise, I made that promise. This year I am reporting that we have been able to do this and do that and do this. Particularly this loan scheme that he has for small-scale industries. You see, sometimes you find it difficult to understand why our government can't do the right things. We have seen countries that have developed that we are looking at. We have seen the Asian tigers. We have seen that small, medium-scale industries form the bedrock of the development in India and other places like that. Why previous governments have not done this baffles many of us. Now, this government appears to want to do something like that. 100 billion naira they have initially set as seed money may be small. Just like when they started the student loan scheme, the amount of money they initially called was so so misleading that people say, but eventually they increased it. So we expect that this one too, when it takes off the ground, that they will put good money there, money that has been going into other areas. And then I also want to comment on what the speaker said, that the president has magnanimously helped them to be able to take care of the needs of their constituencies. Let us, are they actually taking care of those needs? Because constituencies, people are still complaining. We have all these constituency projects that somebody was in. I think one of the senator from my state, Ondo State, was saying that every senator gets 2 billion in constituency projects, and every House of Representatives got minimum of 1 billion. Where is this money? How is this impacting? Because now we have seen that the governors, the senators, the House of Rep people,
they are getting more money.
They are getting more money, but it's not reflecting. People are not seeing the evidence on ground. So it's important that we begin to see the evidence. The president has done his own part. He has made sure that you get these resources. Now, how are you utilizing them? So it's not enough to thank the president for making money available, but you also want to tell us how you are using it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ademigwe, do you have any other question before we go?
I have one question. I hope it won't sound mischievous. Do you think Mr. President is living up to the spirit of June 12?
That's for me.
Yes.
Well, my candid opinion, I mean, truth be told, because if we, like he said, even Mr. President acknowledged the fact that you have to have reasonable critiques. People must criticize that the best way for the man in power to be able to impact the lives of Nigerians properly is to have criticisms, and that's how he can gauge the goodwill that he has. So those are words from his mouth. And it is unfortunate that most of the people around him, they are the ones who act as, the attack dogs. And that's the truth. We cannot discountenance the fact that there are attack dogs who just don't want anybody to say anything negative about this government. So, yes, the truth that I have within me is that we all know, every Nigerian knows that we are expecting better. We expected better. Because number one, Mr. President is an astute politician. He knows grassroots politics. He knows what we need. He knows more about June 12 than those of us sitting here discussing it. So, and he didn't get there poor. The First Lady, I said it before, the First Lady has said, we are not here for money. We are here to serve the people. So, yes, I don't think at the moment Mr. President is living up to expectations. We know he can do better. He can start with making scapegoats of those, even those around him. We were discussing about, Batsa being killed by Babangida, Abacha. Confirming the killing.
Can we wrap things up?
So, if you begin to make scapegoats of people around you, many Nigerians will begin to toe the line. And that is very important. You must really walk the talk.
Yes, let me add by saying that the spirit of June 12 is credible election. You know how you talk about June 12, that the election was credible. Was seen to be free and fair, both by international observers and by local observers. Everybody believed that election was okay. Even the man who lost the election, Tofa, admitted that he lost, and he congratulated the winner. Let Bola Tinubu work in that spirit and make sure that every election that he will conduct as president will be credible, free and fair. Otherwise, he will not be up to the spirit of June 12th.
All right, we must thank you very much, gentlemen. We quickly have to go because of our news at 2. And we hope that our viewers will join us again tomorrow on the conversation for further discussion on the presidential speech of today, as well as 26 years of democracy on the conversation tomorrow at 10 a.m. I am Ajibola Ojeshola.
And I am Adebimpe Omotayo. Stay safe.